Good evening, everyone. This is Robert Jamieson. Welcome to our online chess lesson for Thursday, the 6th of March. Today, we're going to have a look at pawns. In our last lesson, we looked at the sort of questions you should be asking yourself to avoid making blunders, like what is he threatening when your opponent makes a move, and before you move, what is he going to reply? So I hope you've taken that on board for your own games. But we're moving on to a totally different thing today, pawns, and I'm going to get Oliver to help me. Hello, Oliver.
Hi.
Hi. Now, you've had a go at this puzzle, haven't you?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's have a look at it. Now, let's start with the basics. So before we launch into any sort of analysis, we need to know what's happening in this position. So let's look at the things we talked about before. So material's even. Space. Who do you reckon has got more space?
Probably black.
Well, they've both got a pawn on the 5th rank. White's got one on b5 and black's got one on g4. So it's pretty even on space, I think. King safety, is that an issue here?
Probably not.
No.
Because nothing to attack it.
Yeah, we're in an endgame, so king safety is not relevant. Now, what about time? Is anyone ahead on time?
Looks quite even here, so...
It's pretty even, but in the ending, what are we trying to do with our kings?
Get them side by the pawn.
We're trying to march them into the middle of the board and attack the other guy's pawns and stuff. So white's king's on the 4th rank, so he'd like to sort of move ahead, maybe attack black's pawns, whereas black, he'd like to sort of come in and attack white's pawn. So white's maybe one move ahead in terms of time, but it's not very important. But there is one thing that's important in this position. One advantage that black has that white doesn't have. Do you have any idea what that might be?
Probably position.
More information? What do you mean by position?
Like probably if white moves his H pawn up, it's gonna get taken.
Bad move. Let me give you a hint. So black would like to come forwards with his king, but it's blocked by white. Okay, and white would like to do the same thing. He'd like to move forwards, but black's king is stopping him. The kings are like opposed to each other. So has black got a sneaky thing up his sleeve that he could use if he wants to make white's king give way?
Yes. A5.
No, not. Oh well, that would lose a pawn. No, all right. I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. See this this H pawn on H2. So if he wants, if he needs to gain a move, he can just move that one square, or he can move it 2 squares to gain an extra move, and then white's king might have to go back. So he's like got a tempo up his sleeve. So that's very important in this position. Now, you think you've solved it? Do you reckon black's winning or white's winning?
Probably black.
All right. What's your winning move?
I thought A5 might be, because then if king takes, our king could just... Oh, wait, no.
Well, let's try it. I'll play white and you play black. So you want to check me with the pawn. All right. What happens if I just take you? What are you going to do then?
King C5.
All right. Now you've got my king trapped. So I'm going to play B6. What are you going to do then?
I can't. Maybe King C4.
you could do king c4. It doesn't really make much difference. You could use your spare move with the pawn or king c4 because I've run out of moves. And I'm going to have to do that terrible move you said. I'm going to have to play h3 or h4, get taken, you'll get a queen, and you win. So that looks pretty good, but maybe I've got something else we need to look at as well. So if you go a5 check, I'm not going to take you. I'm going to go to c4. Now, can you beat me now? What can you do?
I could move pawn to b5, b6, sorry.
All right. So what if I go back to d3 then?
You could go king c5.
Yes, so now your king is gaining more space and time, and you're threatening to come into b4. All right, so I have to block you with c3. So now my king's got all the three squares you want to come in covered. But what can you do?
You could go back.
You could go back. Would that be good? Then I'd go forwards. You want to go back and let me go forwards?
Pardon?
You want to go back and let me go forwards, or do you want me to go back so you can get in and attack my pawn?
Probably go forwards.
Okay, so how can you make me give way?
Probably king b3.
No. It's I've just gone king c3 to stop you. So it's black's go. You're black. You were talking about going back. Bad move.
h6.
Yes. Now you use your spare move. And if I could pass, I'd be all right, but I've got to move. So, like if I go to b3, you can zoom in, gobble my pawn, and you win. And if I go the other way to d3, you zoom in, gobble my other pawn, and you win. So, yes, you've solved it. So, a5 check is the winning move. And I think only one other person got it, Liam. So, well done, Liam. All right. Thank you, Oliver. I'll move on and give someone else a go. Let's start at the top then. All right. Callum. Are you there, Callum?
Yeah.
Oh, can you get closer to the microphone? I can hardly hear you.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Excellent. Now, today we're going to talk about pawns. All right. Now, pawns are the weakest unit on the board. They're only really worth 1 point, which isn't very much. So, I reckon maybe I'm better off if I just get rid of all these silly pawns that are blocking my pieces so that my pieces can now get out faster and I'll be able to develop really quickly. What do you think? Would this be good or bad?
Bad.
Bad. But look, I could go for instead of the 4-move checkmate, I could go for the 3-move checkmate. But I'm 8 pawns down, aren't I? So you'd rather have the pawns.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, so the question is, what function do pawns fulfill? Why do we want pawns then? Can you think of a use for your pawns? I'll tell you what, we'll get everyone to help you. So there's two uses I can think of. So type in on the questions a use for pawn. Why do we want to have our pawn? Maha's come up with a good answer. What do pawns do? Callum's come up with the same answer. You don't have to type, Callum, because I'm talking to you. But you've got it right. Come on, everyone else. Someone have a go. Why do we need our pawns? What do we use them for? Oliver said promote, but other than promoting. Right, Callum, what's your answer? What do we need our pawns for?
King safety.
Okay, so, like if I had a castle king and I've got my 3 pawns in front of the king, what are the pawns doing?
They're helping your king to get safe.
Yeah, they're like a castle wall that the other guy can't get through to attack me. So I can hide behind the castle wall and live happily ever after. So pawns are good for making my king safe. All right. Now there's another thing they're good for as well. So Maha said king safety, so she got it right as well. So I need a second thing that we might need our pawns for.
Center?
What do you say? Center?
Yeah.
More information? What do you mean?
Like, because you know how you play e4? It controls the center,
Let me put my
and two pawns side by side are good for the center.
So they're controlling the center, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So the pawns on this side here, they're sort of useless, are they? I can throw them away because they're not controlling the center, or are they doing something good too?
They're doing something good too.
What are they doing that's good?
Well, they're like protecting the king in that.
The ones on the queen
protecting...
side, my A2 pawn's not protecting the king. My B2 pawn's not protecting the king. It's not controlling the center, so why would I want those pawns?
Well, because that if you lost those pawns,
yep,
he would just use those pawns as an advantage for center. Say if you lost those pawns, you would have less pawn advantage in the end game, and he would have more likely to get a queen.
Alright, what I'm thinking of is pawns control squares. So you look, if I had those 4 pawns in a row in the middle, I'm controlling all those red squares now. So, if the other guy, if he, let me see, if he was to move his knight on any of those squares, I could just take him. If he moves bishop, if he moves any of his bigger pieces on those squares, I can just take him. So it's like a barrier. His pieces can't get through because I'm controlling those squares. Okay? So that's the two main uses for pawns. Making your king safe and controlling squares. Alright. Let's move on. So, thank you, Callum. I'll give someone else a go. Liam. You there, Liam? Hello, Liam. Talk to me. Liam. Okay, Liam's not going to talk to me. I will talk to Maha then. Hello, Maha. You there?
Hi?
Hi.
Yes.
Right, okay. You did well. Did you say A5 or something, or you got one of the answers, didn't you, a minute ago?
I did H6.
H6, that's right. So you did very well. All right, now, you're going to help me with the next phase, which is talking about pawns. Now, there's all different sorts of pawns, different names for pawns, depending on where they are and what they're doing and everything. So, I'll get everyone to type in first, and then I'll ask you, Maha, so don't tell anyone. So I want you to type in the coordinate of a passed pawn. Have a look at the diagram. See if you can find a passed pawn and type in which pawn is the passed pawn. So Callum's got it right. Oliver's got it wrong. He's put a vacant square. Nathan's typed in 12. That's better, Nathan. Maha's typed in something. Come on, everyone. This is the easiest question first. Find me a passed pawn. At the moment, only Nathan and Callum have got it right. Oliver's got it wrong. Okay, let's talk to Maha then. So, Maha, are there any passed pawns on the board?
No.
No. All right, so you tell me, what is a passed pawn?
A passed pawn is a pawn where no pawns stop it from getting to the end.
Okay, so are there any pawns here that can go through without being taken or stopped by an opposing pawn? Have a look over the
Yes, the A pawn can.
Yeah, so there's one pawn. So the A pawn can hoon right through if he wants. No time, because there's no side-by-side pawns. There's no A pawn for black or B pawn that's going to take him. So there is one pass pawn on the board, the A2 pawn. All right, very good. Oliver said F4. That's not a pass pawn, Oliver. That's a vacant square. So never mind. All right, now what are pass pawns good for, Maha? Why do we want to have pass pawns, and when do we want to have pass pawns?
The pass pawns are good in the end game where there are not many other pieces to stop it.
Okay, so what are we trying to do with it?
It's used for running. You can run it down the board and hopefully get it into a queen in the end game.
All right, you can try to get it into a queen, and he might be able to stop it. But even if he manages to stop it, he'll be on the defensive. All his pieces will have to go over to try and block your pawn getting through.
And you can run up your other pawns.
Yeah, maybe you might have a pass pawn on the other side. So he can't. If he's only got a king, his king can only cover one of the pawns. Something like that. That's called an outside pass pawn, where we have a pawn on the other side of the board to the king. Now, a pass pawn is the middle game.
Pardon?
Are pass pawns helpful in the opening or the middle game?
Not usually, because there's lots of pieces on the board.
Yeah, so they're not usually relevant in the opening and the middle game. The only thing they are relevant is if you know you've got a pass pawn, you might want to swap off your pieces so you can get to the end game and your pass pawn will be good. All right, so that's the pass pawn. So thank you, Maha. I'll give someone else a go. We'll go down to Nathan again. Hello, Nathan. Nathan, talk to me.
Что бы ты хотел кушать? Немного китов, я тебя одного оставлю.
Nathan,
Хорошо, я тебя одного оставлю. What would you like?
Nathan's obviously having a big conversation with his mum, so we'll go on to Oliver. Hello, Oliver. Oliver, talk to me.
Hi.
All right, now, so we've done
Hi.
a pawn. Now, is there another sort of pawn you can find for me? Let me see. I'll tell you what. Have a think about it. Don't scream it out. We'll get everyone to pick it and see if they can write it down. Isolated pawn. I want people to have a think. See if they can find me an isolated pawn and type in on the questions where that isolated pawn, or there might be more than one of them, could be. Callum had a go, and he's got it wrong. Maha's had a go and got it right. Well done, Maha. Come on, guys, have a look. Isolated pawn. What does it mean, isolated pawn? Callum's had another go, and he's closer, but he's still got it wrong. Callum's saying there are 2 isolated pawns on the board. All right, they need your help, I think, Oliver. So, can you see any isolated pawns on the board, Oliver?
Maybe the pawn on h3.
H3. Now, tell me, what's an isolated pawn? Tell me about that.
Like a pawn which can't be protected by another pawn?
Yes, exactly. No. Well, hang on. Let me see. What about the pawn on f2? Now, that can't be protected by another pawn at the moment. Is it an isolated pawn?
Is f2 an isolated pawn?
Yeah. h3, you're right. h3 is an isolated pawn. Is f2 isolated as well or not?
Probably not, because it can move up to f5.
Yes, it could go forward.
After 2 moves.
Yeah, all right. So there's only one isolated pawn on the board. That's the pawn on h3. Now, are isolated pawns, are they good or are they bad, Oliver?
They're normally bad unless they're quite far up the board.
Yeah, they're normally bad. Now, the thing is, Pawns, they're only little chappies, like little foot soldiers, and they're much better when they're in a group of buddies. So say like we put the pawn now on G2. It's no longer isolated because it's got a buddy next to it on F2. So if he gets attacked on G2, he can just go up to G3 and his buddy on F2 is protecting him. Or if F2's in strife, he goes up to F3 and the G2 pawn is protecting him. So pawns side by side are much better. If they're isolated, they haven't got that protection. There's also one other problem with having an isolated pawn. This is a bit tricky. Any idea, Oliver? What's the other problem with an isolated pawn?
You can't protect it with another pawn.
That's the first problem, but there's a second problem, a second weakness with an isolated pawn.
It can get attacked easier.
Not necessarily. Think about squares.
It can.
Any idea?
No.
All right. Have a look at the square in front of the isolated pawn. Now, would that be a good square for black to put a piece on, like a knight or something, or a bishop? Maybe a knight?
Probably not.
Why
Because
not?
it's blocking its path.
No, if for black, for the other guy, for the opponent to put a knight there. See, the problem with the isolated pawn as well is that the square in front of it can't be attacked by another pawn. So like, let's go back. Let's move the F pawn to the G pawn. So if black put a piece on square H4, thinking that's a really good spot, say it was a knight, I could just then move my G pawn. Oh, sorry, got the wrong thing. Need an arrow. Black could move the G pawn up. Still got the wrong. Hero dear. Third time. Black could move the G pawn forward, and he'd then be attacking the knight, and the knight would have to move. All right. But if there are no pawns on the adjacent file, so if in other words it is an isolated pawn, I can sit a piece on H4. It's a really good square, particularly for knights. So isolated pawns have a weak square in front of them. So think of that. All right. So that's isolated pawns. Good. So thank you for your help with that one, Oliver. I'll give someone else a go. Let's go on to Rachel. You there, Rachel? Hello, Rachel.
Yes. I'm actually Timothy.
Oh, Timothy. All right, sorry. Hello, Timothy.
Yeah.
I can only read your name.
Hi.
That's your mum's name, is it, Rachel?
It's my sister's
Your
name.
sister. Okay. All right, Timothy. Now, so we've done pass pawn. We've done isolated pawn. Now, you have a think, and I'll get people to type in the question. I need doubled pawn. Can you type in the question box if you can see where a doubled pawn is? You have a think, Timothy, about doubled pawns. Have to obviously be two of them. So Maha's got it right, Callum's got it right, Oliver's got it right.
G6 and G7?
Yes, pretty easy. G6 and G7. So 2 pawns on the same file are called double pawns. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing, do you think, Timothy?
A bad thing?
Why is it a bad thing?
Because the pawn is not protected.
But if I just, let me see. If I took away, so you're saying the G7 pawn is not protected, is that what you're saying?
No, yeah.
Yeah, all right. But if I took away the double pawn, the G7 pawn is still not protected. So that's not really relating to the double pawn. So what's the bad thing about the double pawn? Think about the mobility of the pawns. Maha's got it right. problem is the pawns are sort of bumping into each other. The pawn at the back, he can't go forward because the other pawn's there blocking his way. So they haven't got as many options as if they were side by side, when either of the pawns could go forwards 1 or 2 squares. So that's a disadvantage. Now, there might be an advantage to double pawns. What would be the advantage? So say like my H pawn here, let's say he's taken a pawn on G6. So he's got double pawn, so we know that's possibly a little bit bad, but what would be an advantage?
It's attacking a lot of squares.
Yes, it's controlling more squares. So it's controlling these 2 squares, particularly the F5 square that it wasn't controlling before. And the pawn behind him is controlling these 2 squares. So between them, they've got a pretty good coverage, because remember you said one of the functions of pawns is to control squares. All right. Now, let's just put that pawn back. Now, let's say white had something on G6. So black's go, so now he's got a choice. He's going to end up with double pawns. He could either take with the H pawn and have a double pawn, or he could take with the F pawn and have a double pawn. So I want everyone to have a think. Which one, in general, would they prefer to take with? Would they take with the H one, or would they take with the F one? So Callum's going H. Maha's going H. Oliver's gone F. Nathan's gone H. Liam's gone H. What do you reckon, Tim? Would you be an H man or an F man?
H.
H. Why do you prefer to take with the H pawn?
Because it will be attacking the center.
Yes, the pawn is moving towards the centre. And we know centre pawns are more important than side pawns. So an H pawn is not super important because it's only controlling one square. Whereas if he moves to the closer to G6, he's now controlling 2 squares, and one of them's F5, which is pretty close to the centre. So the general rule that everyone should think of, most times we take towards the centre. Now, tricky one, Tim. There are some times where we might want to take the other way. So what would we have to have in the position for us to want to take with the F pawn? Can you think of any circumstance that would be good to take with the F pawn? See, what does black have in this position that he didn't have when we took with the H pawn? Can you see? What does black have that's different?
The profile.
He's got
the open
half
file,
open file now. So, for instance, if black had a rook on F8 that he wanted to attack white's king side, maybe white's king's on G1 or something, and it was really important to get that rook in the attack, he might take with the F pawn to get his rook into play. But that'd be the only time you'd take with the F pawn. All right, so that's double pawns. So thank you for that, Tim. Selwyn, let's see if we can do Selwyn. You there, Selwyn?
Hello.
Hello. All right, so we've done pass pawns, isolated pawns, double pawns. Are there any other sort of pawns you can see in the position? Any other names for pawns? There's one particular name I'm thinking of. Any ideas?
No.
All right, well, I'll tell you the name, so don't you give me your answer here. We'll give people a chance to type in the questions. Now, another type of pawn is called a backward pawn. So in the question box, you guys, type in whether you can see one or more backward pawns, what square they're on. Are there any backward pawns in this position? So Maha reckons she's found the backward pawn. Callum's put a blank square again. Come on, Callum, stop concentrating. Nathan's got it right as well. Is there only one backward pawn, or the Maha's two backward pawns? Liam's put in a couple of pawns. Callum says he's got the hiccups. All right. Let me go. What do you reckon? Are there any backward pawns in the position? You know what a backward pawn is? Have you heard of that before? Selwyn, talk to me. Say something. Selwyn's lost his voice. All right. I'll move on then to go back to Callum. Callum, can you talk to me?
Yep.
All right. So what did you reckon? Did you find some backward pawns for me? You know what a backward pawn
I don't really know what No.
No. All right. Well, Maha is saying that D6 is a backward pawn. She's also saying A2 is a backward pawn. And then she's had another go and she said F2 is a backward pawn. Now, a backward pawn is a pawn which cannot be protected by another pawn beside it. So Maha's got two of the three right. Which one she got wrong, do you reckon?
F2. I mean the A2.
Yeah, A2 is wrong. Good try. So A2 is not a backward pawn for the simple reason that if something terrible was to happen to the A2 pawn, we just move him up to A4 and then he's all protected and happy. All right, but the poor old D6 pawn, he can't go forwards because we've got that covered twice, and he's not protected by a side pawn. If he had a pawn on C7, it'd be okay. If he had a pawn on E7, it'd be okay, but he's definitely a backward pawn. The other one that Maha got that some people don't get, in this position, F2 is a backward pawn, because if it's not protected at the moment by a pawn on either side, and it can't really go forwards because it'd be captured by the E pawn. So it's backward or behind its neighbouring pawns. So they're the two backward pawns. All right, so Callum, do you reckon backward pawns are good or bad?
Bad.
Why are backward pawns bad?
Because if they can't be protected by other pawns, it's not really good because they can get attacked easily.
Yeah, they're like a sitting duck. They're saying, come and attack me. I can't be protected by my little buddy pawns. All right, so let's say, Callum, you're white, and I'm going to give you two rooks in this position. Where would you probably want to put your rooks? Thinking about the pawns.
Ooh. D7.
You want a rook on D7? Where else?
And G7. I mean G8.
G8?
G8.
I'll revise the rules because I don't know that your rooks can get through there. It has to be on your half of the board. So your rooks haven't got into the enemy's camp yet. So thinking about the other guy's pawn structure, maybe you other guys can help him in the questions. What squares would you put your two rooks on? So type in. What do you think? You want to have another go, Callum? They've got to be on your side of the board. Oliver's got it exactly right. Well done, Oliver.
G3.
You want to put one on G3? Yep, and where else? Did you say G or D?
Put one on D1.
Did you say G3 or D3?
G3.
All right.
Wait.
Why do you want to put
I'll
on
put
G3?
F3.
You're changing on me. Okay.
Yeah.
They want D1 and F3 now. All right. Why do you want to put it on
Yeah.
F3?
Because it's attacking F7.
True.
And even if it goes to F5, it just gets taken by a pawn.
Right, but what
And
if it
you'll
goes?
get the
Hang on.
better exchange.
What if it goes to F6? Then it's perfectly safe. All right. So.
I'll just move across to G6.
Well, then the other one can go to G5. So Oliver,
And I just move across.
Right. Let me show you. So the normal spot is you want to build up on the backward pawn. So you'd put your rooks on the D file. So you'll double your rooks like a battery, attacking that backward pawn, because he can't move forwards. So if you can like attack him twice with two rooks and he can only be defended once with one rook, say, then you can win that pawn. All right, so that's an example of how pawn structure might affect where you place your pieces. All right, thanks, Callum. I'll give someone else a go. Let's go back to Liam. Hello, Liam.
Hello.
All right, now another thing, pawn chain. Can you see any pawn chains on the board?
Yes, I can see one that is A2, B3, and C4.
All right, now what's a pawn chain? Explain that to me.
A pawn chain is when you have 3 pawns and each one is another step diagonal but going in one line.
What if it's 2 pawns or 4 pawns? Would that still be a pawn chain?
Yeah, they still are pawn chains, just 2 pawns is a bit of a smaller pawn
Yeah, it's a
chain
bit of a
and
small chain. 3 or 4 would be better.
a bit bigger.
Now, a pawn chain's good things or bad things?
It's a good thing because
Why?
all your pawns are hitting each other and they're quite good for attacking.
Yeah, it's a pretty good thing because the B3 pawn is protecting the C4 pawn and the A2 is protecting the B3 pawn. So what's the weakness of the pawn chain?
The tail of the chain, the A2
The
pawn.
base of the chain. So the rule is you always try to attack the base of the chain. So A2 here is the base of the chain. So black would be like putting his rooks on the A file, trying to attack that. If the base is tucked away nicely in a little corner, like A2, often it can be hard to get at. So a pawn chain is normally a pretty good structure. All right, thank you, Liam. Go on to Maha. Hello again, Maha.
Hi.
Hi. Now, do you know about pawn islands? Have you heard about pawn islands?
Yes, I've actually searched a bit about it a few weeks ago.
All right. Now you tell me how many pawn islands has white got and how many has black got?
I think that White's got either 3 or 4. If he moves the F.
No, not moving any pawns. So in this position, how many islands has he got?
I think it's 3 or 4. I'm not sure. It's either 3 or 4.
All right.
And Black's got either 1 or 2.
All right. Well, you tell me each island. So show me one of the islands.
The A2, B3, and C4.
Yep, that's an island. That's one. Tell me another one.
H3.
Yep. So he's all by himself. He's a little island. So that's another one. Tell me another one.
And then E4 and F2, maybe F2. Is it?
Yes. So white has 3 islands. So what's the definition of an island?
An island is when the pawns can either be diagonal or across from it.
Yeah, it's like how many
diagonal or next
how
to.
many pawns are in a group side by side. So how many islands has black got?
One actually.
Yeah, so he's only got one because there's no gap. All the pawns are side by side. Right, so is it good to have more islands or less islands?
Less islands.
Why is that good?
So all your pawns are together and are easy to be protected, most of them at least.
Because we said before, pawns like buddies beside them, so fewer islands the better. So in this position, white's got 3 islands to defend, whereas black's only got 1 island to defend. All right, excellent. So I think that's all the different sorts of pawns. So remember, we've got pass pawns, isolated pawns, double pawns, backward pawns, pawn chains, pawn islands. All right, so if we understand about those things, we're doing really well. All right, now, the pawn structure often dictates what happens in the game, where we play, where we place our pieces, that sort of stuff. So you need to train your eye to look at the pawn structure and say, oh, well, this sort of pawn structure, I want my pieces here. So let's have a little exercise. So we'll say black has 2 knights. Now I want you to think what would be 2 really good squares for black to put these knights on. So Maha, you think, don't say, everyone else can type. So in the question, if you're black, you've got 2 knights, what squares would you put those knights on?
And you've spelt my name wrong.
Who spelt your name wrong?
It's THIAGARAJAN, not THIAGARAJAH.
Okay, I don't know where that name comes from. I presume it was from your computer when you log on. All right, I'll check that with David tomorrow, see whether he can get that fixed. All right, so let's have a look.
Okay.
So Nathan is saying he wants a knight on B8 and H7. Not sure why you want a knight on B8 and H7. Is that a good square for your knight? Because we're trying to put our pieces on the best possible squares. So like Nathan, knights normally don't like going in the corners. So if you were black, you wouldn't want a knight on H8 because it don't go anywhere. So we're looking for a good square. Callum's saying G5 and D2. Right. All right, come on, the rest of you, see if we can have a go. Type in 2 squares where we'd put our knight. Nathan likes B5. I'm going to take it with my pawn if you put it on B5, Nathan. Oh, no, hang on, sorry. Yes, I am. B5. Maybe you mean B4. Liam's going B4 and C1. I'm just talking in general, guys, so there could be other pieces all over the board. So don't try and attack something thinking you're going to take it. Just think in general, like it's a middle game, where would be a good spot for my knight to go? Oliver's now going B4 and F6. All right, I think they need your help, Maha, because we're not doing too well here. So which 2 squares would you put your knights on?
Do you mean a black knight or a white knight?
A black knight. So put it on any square you like.
Then far by D4 is the best square.
So you go B4 and you've got another
No,
knight.
D4.
Oh, sorry, D4. D for
not
dog.
B4.
Okay, hang on. D for dog, all right. And what other square? You've got one more knight as well.
F4.
And guess what, Maha? You've got it 100% right. Well done. Everyone else has stuffed up. All right. Now, you explain to the people why D4 and F4 would be really good squares for your knights.
Well, one, it's not, white cannot attack it.
Yes, the knight can't be driven away by a pawn. So it's what's called a hole. So like F4, there's no pawn can attack that knight and move it away. So it's a hole for the knight to sit in. Any other reason you choose those 2 squares?
It's right in the center of the board.
Yes, right in the centre. Like d4 is controlling the whole board, or if white's king's on the king side, f4, that's going to give us a really strong attack. So you guys have to train your eyes so you can look at a position and say, here's some holes, here's where I'm putting my pieces. All right, I'll give you guys one more go. You're white, you have a knight. What square are you going to put your knight on? This is pretty easy, I'm thinking, so we'll see if you got the idea now. So come on, have a go. White to move his knight. Where would he put it? Sham's got it right. Callum's got it right. Liam's got it right. This is good. I think you're getting the hang of it. Maha, where would you put your knight?
D5 and B5.
Now, you've only got one knight. Yeah.
D5.
D5 is the correct one. So D5 is a dirty big hole. Knight's in the middle of the board, dominating the centre. Can't be gotten rid of by a pawn. All right, very good. Let's just quickly move on. I think I've got one more thing I want to show you. All right, now this is a little bit tricky, but this is a practical example of understanding pawn play. So let's say we have this position. Now, Maha, what sort of pawn has white got that might be a problem for him?
An isolated pawn.
Which pawn's the isolated pawn?
D4.
Yes, white has an isolated pawn on d4. So he's got two pawn islands and black's only got one. Now, if this were a middle game, Maha, would that isolated pawn on d4 be a disadvantage or an advantage, or it might depend?
Possibly depend.
Depend on what? Does the pawn give white an advantage in the middle game, where it is now?
Not usually, I'd say, because black could pile up on the pawn and win it. But if it's...
Wait a minute. So we're in a middle game, so there's lots of pieces. So think about our four things: material, time, space, king, safety. Does white's pawn on d4 give you an advantage in any one of those four things?
No, and two, black can pile up on the pawn and maybe win it.
No, well, not quite. In the middle game, that pawn gives a space advantage because it's on the fourth rank. So white has more space, whereas black's pawn's only on e6, on the third rank. So if we're in a middle game and white's got this position, he's got a space advantage. So he might be able to use that to do a kingside attack. But we're not in the middle game, we're in the end game, so now that pawn is a weakness. But the question is, white's got it attacked twice, black's got it defended twice. White's got it defended twice, black's got it attacked twice. So, is there a way black can take advantage of this pawn being isolated? So this is the last tricky question for the lesson. So type in, if you were black, you've got one good move here, what move would you make to exploit this pawn being an isolated pawn? So Oliver's saying e5, Oliver's saying e5. So think hard. e5 is a triple attack on the pawn. Is that a good attack? Nathan's saying b5, which is illegal because there are no b pawns, Nathan. So try again. All right, Maha, we might need your help. What do you think? Black got a good move?
Pardon?
Black got a good move here to exploit the isolated pawn? Rachel's going e5. What would you do?
He can do e5. e5 is a possibility, but it just, I think, loses you a pawn.
But hang on, e5, I can't take it because then the rook would take the rook.
Rook takes.
I'd lose the rook.
So it is.
But can I get
So
out?
there's
So
a
now he's attacking my
possibility
pawn
you
3 times.
Okay.
I'm defending it twice. Can I get out of
You
losing
can
the
go
pawn?
to D5.
Yeah, I just go to D5.
D5.
Yeah, so you haven't won a pawn. Okay, but there is a way you can do it. So Nathan
I
says,
think it's.
yes.
I think it's bringing the king out and trying to attack it.
Well, you could bring your king out, but then white could bring his king out as well. So it's going to be not much difference probably. There is one good move here. No one's seen it yet. Now think hard, Maha. The problem, E5 looked like a good move, but the problem was the pawn push past.
E8. Rook E8.
Rook E8. How does that help us? What are you threatening?
Alright.
No. So think everyone. You'd like to play E5 to win that pawn, but you can't because I just pushed past.
I think I've got it. Rook D5.
Yes, go Maha. You're superstarring today. Right, so in this position, black will play Rook D5. So next move, he's going to play E5. I can't take because then I lose my rook. And if I leave it there, black can just take, so he wins the pawn. Yes. So black has got the ideal way to exploit the isolated pawn. Rook D5. Well done, Maha. You've found good solutions today, so that was very good. I think Callum's come up with it as well, though he might have had to go earlier. All right, well, that's the end of today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed finding out a little bit more about pawns because it's important you understand all the different types of pawns and pawn structures because that helps you decide your plans and what you're going to do and where you put your pieces. Now, this weekend is a long weekend in Australia, or in Victoria anyway. We've got Labor Day, so most of the good chess players go up to Ballarat for the Begonia Open. So if you guys aren't playing, and you're probably not, you might want to follow the tournament and some of the live games on the internet. I hope there's going to be live games, so check it out, Ballarat Begonia Open Tournament, and you might be able to follow those good games and see if you can learn something from the strong tournament up at Ballarat. Other than that, I'll see you all next Thursday and look forward to having another lesson with you then. So, thank you and good night, everyone.